One day on the internet, I found the website of the association Lift the Burden, a French association that you see in the film, and I was very touched by a number of life stories, including Alexandre's, one played by Melvil. In the Diocese of Lyon, he fought for years to have his status as a victim recognized and to ensure that the priest who had abused him, who was still alive, would no longer have contact with children. I got in touch with the members of the association. They told me their stories, I talked with them, and they agreed that I could have a feature film made based on their true stories. I think the trial will run the way that it's going to run, and the French legal system is strong enough to withstand the impact of a film. Pedophilia is, of course, a real scourge, and it seems to me that this film is useful in the public interest. The Church has really had almost a vow of silence, but also elsewhere in the world of sport, in the world of education, and also in families. 80% of all cases of pedophilia are within families. Families can also be viewed as institutions because they're also a source of power and a power structure. Well, it wasn't entirely easy to finance the film given its topic. There are a lot of people we'd normally have contacted. There's the Lyon region, we'd normally have contacted them and asked for funding, and also more classical partners of French cinema such as Canal+, who did not want to provide funding for the film because of the topic it was addressessing, although they'd previously been involved in all of François' earlier films, so that was part of the difficulty of funding. We've been under pressure for theatrical release of the film, but as I said before, everything that is in the film is already known in France. Most of the people who are attacking us have not yet seen the film either, so they're basically attacking us on principle more than anything else, to be quite honest. I didn't want to meet the real Alexander before shooting because I didn't want to imitate him. I didn't want to produce a biopic. I wanted to create a character. I think that Ozon had already done all the work of investigation and actually getting to know my actual character in real life. And at times I felt that even François himself was, we of course are all touched deeply by this topic. So I wouldn't say it was pleasurable to play this role because of course it touches on something very deep. But I would say that in a sense we had a mission, and we certainly had a great deal of respect for the story we wanted to present.
I'd
only worked once with François before. When I read the screenplay,
épaté par voilà, c'est brillant en fait de faire ça.
I found the way that it was produced was really brilliant. It was most impressive. At the time I was thinking a great deal about why one acts at all, and I read about Greek tragedy. It said that you need tragedy so that you can see actors be angry and emote on our behalf so that we can find some distance ourselves. So I was fascinated to find that François Ozon was dealing with this topic, and that entirely underlined my feeling that, okay, I had chosen the right profession after all. I worked almost like a journalist. I interviewed them, I talked to the parents and to the children, and they really opened up to me. They told me a lot of very intimate things, and I felt very rapidly that they trusted me because I was making a feature film. At one point in time, there was the idea of making a documentary film, but I realized very rapidly that what they told me, they're very private things they told me, were things they didn't want to repeat in front of a camera. They'd already testified, they'd already been interviewed in France. There's also books that have been written about them, as a matter of fact, and they were pleased that fiction, that a feature film was taken over. I did take some liberties, although I stuck in essence to their story. The things that they told me were much worse than what you see in the film. They asked me to protect their families. And rather than frightening people, it does draw people in. People want to talk after the film, that we have very important debates, and people talk even in public about what they've experienced when they were kids, their traumas, and it really does seem to untie people's tongues and to lift the burden as a result of that. So these 3 victims come with us as well. They're involved with accompanying the film, and their mission is to make things easier for victims to talk out. It's a citizen-based film with lots of questions, a grassroots film, and it ends with a question. It's a film that opens up a debate, and I hope that the Church will pick up on that. We've already started showing the film in some places in France, and a lot of bishops and others from the Church have seen the film and got a very positive response, and the Catholic community in France seems to be changing their stance on the scourge of paedophilia and the silence that has hung over the issue for such a long time. I'm delighted to be back at the Berlinale again. It's a festival that I really love. It's a festival that very often presents films with socio-political echoes, and with the producer we very rapidly thought that Berlin would be the very best platform to present the film to an international audience, and it was put in the competition section, so we're obviously delighted about that.